The moment I've been waiting 6 months for is finally here. The last horizon, the final tale to the narrative of the Far Territory expansion is here. I don't want to spoil what lies ahead without finishing this video, but you are in for a roller coaster that you didn't expect to get on. This video is part 1 of 2 for the story of Last Horizon. Expect part 2 to come the day after this releases. Also, expect my voice to be very different because I just finished an 8.5-hour live stream. In order to make this video as short as possible, I'm going to focus solely on the actual notes and save the speculation for later. Let's just get right into it. The first objective leads you to Foreman's Technical Report 1. It reads as follows.
I think I'm the only one who made it out. The other guys just lost it. Started wandering off. I'm not immune to whatever happened, it just didn't hit me as bad as the others. The chief either, I don't know why. She held out a long time. Damn long time. But then she just locked herself in there with that blasted machine. She died before she could learn the truth about my real mission here.
This note reveals a few key things. It reveals to us that the foreman escaped the mine. The foreman was not as affected by the machine as the rest of the people involved in Rudiger's project. The foreman saw that the now deceased security chief locked herself in the control room next to the machine, and that the foreman was on a mission other than his job at the project work site. The second objective leads you to the foreman's technical report 2. It reads as follows.
Rudiger's here, somewhere. The chief's logbook said as much. I'll keep looking. There's a settlement nearby I need to check out. I'm gonna try to keep a record of all this as long as I'm able. Photos, whenever I can, these notes. If I make it back, I'll need something to show for how this all went to shit. They will want to know. But I keep losing things. Leaving them behind. Can't hold it together.
This note reveals even more about the foreman. It reveals he is after Rudiger and the evidence of the experiment. He collected information from the security chief's remains and belongings to point him in the direction of Rudiger's location. The transmission site mentioned in the security chief's final log was the weather station in the Sundered Pass, and that the foreman is suffering from some of the severe symptoms of Rudiger's plague. It also mentions a mystery they, which is surrounded by asterisks to emphasize the importance of they. If there is anything I've learned from watching Destiny lore videos by My Name is Bife, it's that sentence syntax and structure is important. These asterisks means that they is a very important individual or group of individuals. Shout out to the Lord Daddy himself. The third objective leads you to Rudiger's Diary 1. It reads as follows.
Someone is stalking me. Even now, huddled here with the rats and the filth, he is searching. The mole I had feared, or the mountain pass is closed. Great Bear Island's instability, its many earthquakes and shifting mountains, were thought to be key attributes in our scientific game. And that proved partially true. Its gnashing rocks, the clash of old and new forces in opposition, did grant us a look in the right direction. But it's also trapped me here, with no retreat from these frozen peaks. I need to examine the data more closely. All I hold in my hands is a closed book. I must get higher, to get the signal out, to let them know I persist in this hellish place.
This note reveals valuable information provided by Rudiger himself. It reveals that Rudiger is being stalked by someone. That stalker is referred to as a mole. It also reveals some context on the nature of Rudiger's intentions. So far, we've only ever seen the machine's involvement with human biology and brain chemistry, but these details from Rudiger talk about earthquakes, the shifting mountains, and the very earth below Great Bear Island itself. This is a drastic turn for the narrative of the tales, which I will talk about more in the part 2 of the Last Horizon story. He even further confirms the importance of Great Bear Island for the experiment and its importance for his endeavors. Finally, he mentions he is trapped. The far territory is hell on earth, but if it were cold. Rudiger, who I believe to be relatively old based on the wording of his My Testament speech, worked his caboose to get across the far territory to find a way out. Based on how his My Testament speech describes his personality, he desperately needed the world to know that he persisted. Not the actual world itself, but them. He needed them to know that despite his failures, he carried on and that he was still alive. Not asterisk like before, but them is the same as the they that the foreman had mentioned before. This entity, as I will call it for now, is after what Rudiger has, and their stalker is after Rudiger. I need you to heed this warning. Before watching part 2 of the Last Horizon story, I highly recommend you either finish Signal Void and Buried Echoes or watch my video titled The Story of the Rudiger Project. Part 2 of Last Horizon will continue the narrative spiral that Hinterland mentioned the Buried Echoes tale would contain. The second half of Lost Horizon is something I never would have imagined and flipped my perspective on Rudiger, the entire project, and the true nature of what is happening at Perseverance Mills. Please make sure you understand the story so far before you venture onto the next video when it releases. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to comment, like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so I can keep making them.